What is up, LEGO fans? Cow60Bricks here, and today I will be reviewing set 71741 Ninjago City Gardens. This set came out on the 14th of January 2021, which was precisely 10 years from the date that Ninjago began, so essentially the set was made to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Ninjago. It came with 23 minifigures, which includes Zane's statue, the figure of Chen above his noodle house, and a spare Legacy 1 robe for Jay. It came with 5,685 pieces and retailed for €300, making it possibly the greatest value set ever. It was also the biggest Ninjago set ever made. It has the most Ninjago minifigures ever in a set, and it is my biggest set, and as well as that, it's the 5th biggest set ever overall. It can connect onto set 70620 Ninjago City from 2017, and it can also connect onto the 70657 Ninjago City docks from the later 2018. On top of this, the set also comes with a custom poster made by a Ninjago fan, and it basically displays the pilots in a really cool art style. He has actually made this for every single season, however they did decide to include the pilots one. I guess that would be most fitting, and I thought that was really cool. I've never seen that done in a set before, so it definitely is worthy of mentioning. So how I'm going to structure this review is, first I'm going to go over the minifigures, just the main 20. The other 3 we will look at as we're going over the build, but I'm not going to go into too much detail, just some bad points and some good points. Then I'm going to go through each section of the build, so we'll start with the top, then the middle, then the bottom, and then the gardens area. Then we'll put them all together, and we're just going to look at how the whole build, I suppose, just looks as one, and we'll look at how it connects on, and yeah, just some things like that. And then of course at the end we'll be giving this set a score out of 50. Now if you'd like to see that rating system explained, you should go tap on the card in the top right corner right now, or else you are going to be missing out and you might be a little bit confused, so please do that. But now let's just get into this review. So as I said, we're going to be starting off with the minifigures. Now, first one here is the Golden Sensei Wu. So obviously every single one of the 10th anniversary legacy sets for this year, I suppose, came with one of these golden ninja minifigures, and this one came with the Wu, which is kind of the main one, I guess. But really, your favourite ninja will be probably the best one to get, but this is just the one I wanted to get. I don't have any of the others. Obviously comes with that nice print, and I don't really need to justify this minifigure that well. He's obviously an amazing minifigure to get, and he's kind of like, the one to have. So it's pretty cool that I have him. Obviously, he's the one coming in the most expensive set of all of them. So I guess in the set you do get a lot of just generic civilians, so we'll go over them first. Now, my thing with these is, you need to have them to fill out the city, but at the same time they're taking gaps from a lot of characters I would like to see, so maybe just 1 or 2 less of these and 1 or 2 more named characters would be nice. However, you can't complain. They are needed, obviously, for a city, and they're pretty good quality, some of them. So first up we have Sensei Wu's dog, and this is my first time getting one of these like husky pieces, and nice callback to season 5. In the set they're kind of just pretending it's this little kid's dog, I guess, but to me that's Sensei Wu's dog. And then we have Taito, the little kid. Yeah, nothing too interesting about him. He's probably the least interesting of all the minifigures. Scoop, I think he uses some like bionicle pieces, I'm not sure. Some of those guys, I wouldn't really know about that, but it wasn't like a nice callback to them. It's actually, using the Baby Yoda piece, it just looks similar to those, and he's kind of just like the robot sweep, I guess, that like just cleans up the place. This is Eileen, just another generic civilian. The baguette piece is pretty nice, and yeah, it's quite a detailed, good minifigure. Same here with the ice cream guy. I believe he is named Hai. And yeah, he's definitely a great minifigure. I love the printing on his torso, and yeah, he works well. Kaito, another great minifigure. I love that torso print. Yeah, nothing too bad to say about him, and he's got this new sort of like phone print as well, which is pretty great. This one is probably my favourite of the civilians. This is, let me remember, Katrina, I believe, and the best thing about her really is her jumper, which has a picture of one of the Ninja Lloyd, and it also just says Lloyd on the back, if that will focus. There you go. And yeah, she's definitely a great minifigure. I love the hair as well, and her face isn't that bad either. And then another great civilian here is May. The purple hair and that hairpiece is really great. And the sort of like dojo gi is nice as well. So now we're going to get into some of the main characters. I'll just take Golden Wu out of the way there. And these are really nice to see in the set. So Cece is kind of a named character and a civilian at the same time. It's kind of halfway in between our 2 groups here. And yeah, this is such an amazing minifigure, definitely one of the best in the set. I love, this is like my first, I suppose, cap and hair piece kind of piece, and yeah, it's just really great. And you have like two faces as well. Most of these minifigures have two faces, but I'm going to show you these ones because it's more significant, because one of them does not have the bandana on it. That is not focusing today. So yeah. And then, and a great minifigure to have in the set, although could have been a little bit better, it's the mechanic. So dual molding great, and really cool weapon. Obviously his arm isn't that accurate, neither is his face, I would say. They could have done a bit more with the, I suppose, eye attachment. I guess not, that's probably okay. I think the arm is the only disappointment to me. The rest of the minifigure is great. Ronin, what a great inclusion. Really nice leg printing. He's being a little bit covered there, and just really great detail. Probably one of the best, like, filled out figures I would feel in the set, especially being exclusive to the set. And I was really happy just to get Ronin for the first time. I would have liked maybe a gadget or something just for him to hold, but that's not really a valid complaint. I think he's a great minifigure. Clutch power is great to get from the show. No complaints about him. He has a really cool other face print that I'll just bother to show here, and it is him taking off his eye patch, which I think is really cool. And so our next minifigure here is Misako, probably the biggest letdown in the set for me personally, because first of all, her torso was just not accurate to what she wears in the show. That's kind of disappointing. I guess underneath would be, but I don't know, I think the colour of orange is just too strong. The legs as well, just plain no printing, and definitely not what I remember from the show. And of course the most notable one, she does not have the white streak in her hair, which is pretty disappointing. I'm not sure if her previous renditions had that, but I know her previous renditions were definitely more, I suppose, accurate minifigures. Still really cool to have her from the show, but I just wish she was a bit more accurate. The young Lloyd, great minifigure. That hair in blonde is really cool. Obviously his face just looks exactly like the normal new Lloyd face, but just younger, which is great. So it adds up. And then he has this like Legacy 1 torso, which I think is really cool. So I love that minifigure. The Cole and the J exclusive to the set, really nice minifigures. The Cole has leg printing, which adds to him. His torso isn't like the best thing out there, but it's fine. And then the J has a great torso, and he probably doesn't really need leg printing, so that's fine. His white, I suppose, like t-shirt is a bit faded, the print, but it's grand. I really like the yellow stripe he has, and it's going all around as well, which is really, really cool. And then we have the Nia minifigure. Probably, yeah, not a great minifigure, to be honest. It's, the torso is great. I already have it from the other Ninjago City, and it just doesn't add up with the legs that well, so not great. And then these are just the standard Legacy 1 Kai and Zane. They also have their gold armor, which they don't always have. And the Zane has a titanium face, which is not that normal. It's my first time getting them, but I have seen them before from my brother's monastery. I have to say, they look a lot better with the gold armor, so I'm glad to get these versions of them. And yeah, they're really detailed and cool minifigures, just not exclusive to the set. So, overall, as a selection, bring Golden Wu back in here. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good selection. I mean, it's a lot. In terms of selection, there's definitely a few characters we could have gotten. I might go through that as we get to the build. I would have really liked to see Dareth, of course. He's just a minifigure we don't get a lot, and this is the kind of set to include him in. He was, I guess, in the last like Ninjago City, so maybe not, but still. And I would have liked to have seen Skylar as well, because as you'll see later on, we do have a Chen's Noodle Shop. She's probably the biggest one I think should have been in the set. Just to like swap out two minifigures, Dareth and Skylar, I think I would have been happy enough. A Pixel maybe as well, but then we're just getting a bit picky, I suppose. Overall, some of the minifigures just aren't that great quality. We have so many legs that are just like plain legs, like not much leg printing going on. Not many exclusive figures either. They're using a lot of their, like reusing a lot of stuff basically. The Gold Wu is nice, and we do have a few nice minifigures, but I guess it's kind of, which do you prefer, quantity over quality? And they've gone for quantity in the set. So obviously, as I said, we're going to be taking a look at this top section first. So it's mainly comprised of 3 different parts. And right now I'm just going to show you, I suppose, how they connect up together. But then we're going to take each part off separately and just look at it more in depth. So yeah, I'll just show you like how they, I suppose, connect up. So we have the, I guess it's just a meditation balcony. It's nothing too important. Same here with the museum roof. There's just a few Easter eggs in these, but they're not like major parts of the build. And then we have this, the ninja zone. So it's essentially just the same thing as these two, and then you just have like an extension, a tower extension on top of it. So there's like a lot more rooms to this one, I guess, and that usually goes in pretty easily. You can just see that like sort of slots in, which is actually pretty nice. And yeah, I guess we'll just look at this first. So I'll just take it off and we can take a closer look. So here it is, looking pretty nice. So first we're going to just take a look at the exterior of it, and then we'll look at the little bit of interior it has. So yeah, I really like the design of how these like pink panels match up to the blue, and just like the triangular shape of all that, and the black in the middle as well. That's really satisfying. It just works really well, and the way that fits in is when you're building it, it's pretty fun. And yeah, they just kind of like match up. And the color is pretty nice as well, that like teal blue. Is it teal blue? No, it's more of an azul blue, sorry. And then we have like this satellite array, nothing spectacular, but what you would expect to find at the top of a skyscraper. This can in fact come off pretty easily, and you just have like a sort of cross there, and it fits into these pretty easily. And we do have a bit of interior in here, much to my delight. I was worried it would just be throwaway space. I'm glad they put something in here. This is actually quite a nice touch. It's sort of like, how would you call it, I suppose, like a radar over the city, I guess. And basically just like alerts them, and that's actually what it says there in Ninjago language, or Ninjargon. It says alert, and you can just see a picture of Pythor and Nindroid, and then like a map of Ninjago that could sort of say where their villains are right now, just different locations, I suppose. And there's a little seat as well, and if you just want to fit a minifigure in there, that's going to be pretty easy to do. So I just have Katrina here, and she just fits into the seat, and there she is. And then this should go back on pretty nicely. It can be a little bit difficult to get fitting in. And there you go. So maybe not the easiest thing to put on, but that is when you're doing it one-handed after all. It should be no problem with two hands. And then of course coming down we have this bottom part. There's something in here which we'll take a look at momentarily, but first I just want to say for the design we have these 4 pillars all around, pretty nice. We have this window detailing using that sort of gate piece, using it again here at this bit, which I've shown you has slotted in pretty nicely to the room below it. And yeah, just overall a pretty nice design. So one thing I would say is actually when you're taking this section off from this, trying to get into the interior of this, it is a little bit difficult, because what happens usually is there's a looser connection here than there is here. So when you pull this off, I suppose what tends to happen is this just kind of breaks off. So you're going to probably want to just like take it from here. So yeah, without a doubt, I would say that's the hardest section to take off in the entire set. But as long as you just like take it from there, it shouldn't be too hard. And there we have the other little piece. They just go on top of each other, of course. And then in here, we don't have too much. We have the Legacy 1 robe for Jay, which I suppose we'll just take a look at now. They have just filled it in with a transparent head, and you can swap that out. I really wish it came with a golden armor. That's kind of disappointing that it didn't, but not too bad. This is probably one of my least favorite of the Legacy 1 suits, but it is nice that you kind of get like space to store it, and it just goes into the jumper plates there. And then we have 2 more posters here, and you haven't seen what these are for, but you will understand a bit. So I'll just read out what they say. So this one says Terror Aqua Sharks, and I believe it was a reference to an older Lego theme that had a similar like sort of thing going on. I can slot easily back in there. Our next poster here is another reference to an old Lego theme. You can see, of course, Johnny Thunder here, and I believe that's Pip and Reed. They've just kind of upgraded her, and it says Adventure Island coming soon. Pretty cool. May also be referencing Ninjago the Island, because that is coming soon. And yeah, that's, I suppose, the tower section. So now we have the room that goes right underneath this tower, and the reason I'm just showing it on the outside here is just to show off 2 play features, and then we'll just take it off and have a closer look. So the first one here would be this ladder, which I think is really cool. It allows you to get from this layer to this layer, but also acts as a barrier into their hideout, which I think is really cool. And I love play features, and there's not many in this set, but this was definitely a nice one to have. And on top of that, it sort of makes it just so that the minifigures could actually get to that location themselves. Not every location in the set can be got to, I suppose, by the minifigures, as in, you know, you don't have to just lift them with your hand, you can actually make them go. It's just kind of hard to explain, but the Ninjago City was able to do that with the help of the lift. This one has to use a lot of more creative ways without the lift, and some places can actually be got to, but this one can, so that's pretty cool. Now, moving on to the next thing, we have this poster here. I showed you the other, so you can't swap it out just by lifting this little piece up and then taking it out. Taking a closer look at this one, we can see this says Space Police, and it shows a couple of the minifigures and even sets in the back, which is a really nice reference. And yeah, you can just tell that they're referencing a lot of Lego sets. We also have these lights here, which are actually incredibly annoying, to be honest. They move a lot. So yeah, let's just take it off and have a closer look. Taking a look at the exterior of this room, one thing that catches the eye would be this clownfish. So obviously the other Ninjago City set also had similar, I suppose, fish statues or little like balloons outside the top layer, and this one is carrying on that trait. It's definitely built well. It can be a little bit finicky in ways that it moves a lot and it's hard to get into position, but it looks nice, so it's definitely worth it. Then you have this really nice gateway actually made with some very interesting pieces. It's the glasses pieces from Brickheads, which is really interesting. You have this little telescope here. This is sort of the entrance. This is of course where the path continues on. We've already looked over here, and then another one of those glasses pieces. So taking a look at the interior, obviously there's the barrier. We have a nice family photo of all of the ninja, apart from Kai. That might be his hand back there. It's kind of disappointing they couldn't get him in. I think they should have replaced him with Wu probably. But yeah, they decided to do that, and he is my least favorite ninja, I would say. So that's probably okay. Then we have Prime Empire. It's an actual shot taken from the game, which is an interesting Easter egg. You have a little armchair that can swivel around. I don't think you need me to put the minifigure in it to show you how that works. I'm sure you've all seen these chairs before. We have a little stand, which is just holding a hat, which you can imagine is Jay's or any of the ninja, whatever you want. And then we have this little arcade pod that fits right in there, and we are going to take this out and have a closer look at it. First impressions about this are nice design, but nothing crazy. And there is actually something pretty crazy about this. I'm so shocked they managed to fit in. It has a really, really cool play feature, and the only other play feature apart from the moving ladder that is in the set, and it's just really cool. So basically, it actually works like an actual, I suppose, game. So you, like, just by pressing down this, you can pretend the minifigure is doing it. It moves the guy up and down, which is really, really cool. And basically that just works because this little pin is like, it just goes further into the thing, and it's just pushing up the tile, if you can sort of imagine that. And then we have this like sort of rubbery piece just so it's allowed to move, and I think that's really cool. If you want, you can kind of get him to move forward, but not as much. I think it's just mostly meant to be up and down, and I think that's really cool. And then when you want to put it back in, it just attaches into our little stud over here. So the next section here is probably one of my least favourite. It definitely has a lot of nice aspects, but just in terms of its overall design, I don't really like the purple and brown colour scheme. Not my favourite colour of purple, and there's just too much brown there. The black isn't that nice either. As well, as you'll see when we're putting it all together, the house here is kind of like here, and then it just doesn't link up that well. It just kind of looks weird. But in terms of itself, we have this really nice roof. You may have noticed they are using treasure chests, and these Ninjago City sets have a track record of using very odd pieces for roofs. The Ninjago City most notably using car doors, crowbars, and there's definitely a lot of weird examples in this set as well. But the treasure chests, and they sort of have this like pattern that they're going through. We have a little table in here, which is pretty nice. The archway, not too bad. And then we have a little safe, which has, apparently, according to the designers, a little piece of moldy cheese. These new pieces, of course, adding the texture for the roof, as we saw on the other side. This little pink flower, just kind of random, but it's nice. We have this like little green patio bit, and then, of course, the floor linking up pretty nice. And I forgot to mention, there is a little Easter egg when you lift these up, an homage to Season 4 of Ninjago, the episode where they are roller skating. It has the orange helmet and then these skates, and that's pretty cool to see in there, adding just something more to this section. And my favourite part by far of this section would be the little bike here. I love when they add little vehicles, and I also love being able to display flying vehicles in the air, and they've given me this opportunity by adding this piece in and just having it like in, I suppose, pose, and I absolutely love that. I think it's just great. Such a small inclusion, but it means a lot to me. It's going to be really cool to display. You can easily take it off as well, and then you can just see underneath here how that like kind of links up pretty well. It's really nice design. We have these crystals used as thrust, and yeah, overall just a really nice bike, great for playability but also great for display. And we are, of course, finishing up the top section with this. The middle part and the museum roof probably looks a lot better attached onto the museum, which we will be viewing later, but still looks pretty nice. I love this is probably my favourite colour. So yeah, it's really great, and I just love this design they've got going on there. This whole front bit with like the stone just looks like something you would see in a museum for sure. The glass, of course, great. This doesn't look too good, but you never really see that. You only really see the back and the front, which of course have the nice design. Now, this bonsai tree is just incredible. I love the shape they managed to get here with this new piece. The rocks, of course, they just go right onto the piece of floor that would be here with the other section. And yeah, that like purple and white just looks great, and the cherries and everything. Yeah, just really nice detail. And in there we have Griefbringer, and he essentially is just hanging from the roof of the museum. So when you put this back on, he would essentially be hanging over the heads of the minifigures. And he's definitely a nice detailed minifigure. Very frustrating to build and put in. His pieces just move a lot, and he's very, very fragile. But he does look great when he's in there. Maybe not for me, because it was just hard to get him to pose without breaking him, so I kind of just had to just put him in however he looked. So you can see his horns are a little bit disjointed there, but I'm not going to attempt to fix that in just in fear that I'll break him again. Overall, really nice homage again to season 13, however a little bit fragile for my liking. So here is our middle section, and first we're just going to be taking a look at the bottom part. But before I take this top part off, I'm just going to show you basically their main feature of connecting. So you can see we have a little sign here saying museum, and if you just follow up those stairs, you'll get to a little opening over here, and that is where the minifigures can come up and access either the museum or Eileen's apartment, whatever they wish. But before we take a look at this, let's just take it off. And I will just say its connection is actually quite strange. It doesn't fit into any studs. It just sort of slots into place. You can sort of see the cheese slope that will prevent it from going too far. So it just perfectly fits into place, I suppose. We'll just place that over here for now. And let's just take a look at this design. So before we get to the interior, we'll just look at the outside stuff. So obviously the main thing that catches your eye really here is this whole tree section. This was really difficult to build and very frustrating, but it looks amazing when it's done. And I just love the lime green, the lighter green, and all the leaves scattered throughout. It just looks incredible. It is a little bit too much on the front, I would say. So you kind of have a bare back, but that's fine because, you know, the front of the set is the main part. And then we just have, of course, all these little tentacles with a little bit of leaf edge. And then we have the 10th anniversary sign under there, which is a really nice inclusion. So then we have our streets, of course, leading all the way up, and we have lots of signposts that we're going to take a look at. So first we have this extra section that is just like attached on here. We have a little bin, a little stool, which is part of the Chen's Noodle House. We're taking a look at the signs. Our first one here, so we're just turning that around. It says MA Fashion, I believe those are the initials of one of the designers, and that may be referencing the fashion shop in the Ninjago City set. Just some nice design there, nothing all too special. The next one here says Aquarium, maybe referencing the aquarium from season 3, of course, where Dareth saved a bunch of kids. Next, Chili House, I believe it says, not referencing anything in specific, I don't think, but yeah, just maybe a future Ninjago City set, perhaps. This now says Rock Raiders, a direct reference to another old Lego theme, and that's the symbol right there. I've no idea what this is. I could not figure it out. It's obviously something, maybe an old Lego theme reference. This is Bolobo, obviously a very random character. I'm not sure why they chose Bolobo. And then you just have like some nature detailing. Next up, Crab Shop, referencing the crab shop in the Ninjago City set. Another old Lego theme, Snap, that would be one of the pieces there they're using as the symbol. Then we have this front section here, really great, a little bit annoying, I would say, to build, much like the tree on top of it, but yeah, it's pretty nice when it's done. You can see like Digi suit armor, Sensoru's hat and gold, which is pretty strange. Next few parts here, we just have Toy. I think that is referencing something, but I'm not too sure what. Hands of Time, obviously, a weird one, but it may be referencing future events, maybe not, we'll have to wait and see. Prime Empire reference right there. And then we just have something saying AO5 Construction, which is a very obscure reference. So our first shop here is Ice Planet, another reference to a Lego theme. This is just what it looks like when you take it away. There's nothing really special in it there. A little megaphone thing or something like that. But yeah, nothing really special. We have a really nice design outside. I love this, I suppose, azul tiling going around this window. A little sign saying open. A little penguin with a mask on saying yummy. Obviously the stairs, as we've seen before. Definitely like some nice detailing, a little air conditioning perhaps, actually be a better term for that. More unique roofing using video game consoles, which is pretty cool. Sorry, not consoles, controllers. And then we have like the back door, and then this is a really, really cool detail that was just really funny that they built into the set. Basically a kid has spilt his ice cream, maybe not a kid, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Another unique bit here, they're using butcher knives, probably quite hard to see, but that is what is making up the detailing of this roof. And then yeah, obviously we've all looked at this before, so there's not too much going on inside, but they've definitely packed a lot of different ice creams and stuff behind the counter. Really like this translucent orange they've got going on there. Kind of looks like lava, which is a bit weird. You have a little square pineapple, perhaps referencing the pineapple dot set. And then you just have another little menu and a little countertop there where I've put some of my own little creations using the spare pieces. And then you just have a few of the prices. They could have done that in Jargon because they did include what the numbers are, but they just decided not to for some reason. And yeah, that's pretty much the ice cream shop. Next up is the Chen's Noodle Shop. Of course, this is the, I suppose, hole that it leaves. So here's the little Stormfighter jet included underneath the Chen's Noodle Shop. And we will be taking a look at the rest of the room later on, but just for now, this is the part that's just attached to this section. And yeah, coming back to it, nice pillars on the front, definitely very nice. Door is grand. My only complaint with this now, just talking about the exterior, before we get into the little details, would be the color scheme. They haven't really picked a proper color and just gone with it, like 2 colors, 3 colors. It's kind of all over the place. They have too many, really. The dark blue and the red, that's fine. That's kind of Chen's color scheme. Then they've got dark brown, they've got this sort of color, and then also this dark red, and there's just too much. I think dark red, the normal red, and the dark blue would have been enough, but they're just trying to cram too many colors, and I really don't like it. They've used a dark brown quite a lot. It's probably the most prominent color, and I don't really like it that much, so color scheme isn't great. This one is like best in the city, and you've got the little sign of him. Then you have the Chen minifigure, really nice. The face is pretty nice. It's got the balls, that little thing. More unique roof detailing with some sausages. It's not just the sausages by themselves. They are supported with some 1x1 clips, but definitely a nice detail and works very well. Turning it around, you have this little bit, and from here you can kind of gaze out at the back of Ninjago City Gardens, as we'll see. Some flowers, little overhang. Nothing much going on here. This is just as new power mode, sort of, just an advertisement. More air conditioning, just pipes. And yeah, that would be the exterior. Coming in here, we have 3 things on the menu. So the first of which, sushi. Then we have, I believe, to be ramen over here. And this one, shrimp bowl, that's what it would be. Yeah, shrimp bowl. Yeah, nice detailing here with the lamp. And then, of course, we have this, which is kind of depicting the classic design you would have in the Chen's Noodle House. That's really nice, like anaconda painting right there. And then you just have a seat for 2. It's obviously nowhere near as big as the real thing. Just have a little saucepan there. And definitely would have liked if this was like a bit bigger and had puffy pot stickers for Darth. That would be my complaints. But overall, it's pretty nice for what it is. So for me anyways, the top half of this middle section is way more interesting than the bottom half. So looking at the exterior, a very notable feature would be this roller coaster piece used as a nice design, sort of an arch, and it's in great contrast, the red with the yellow. Obviously, as I said, this is my favorite color. And yeah, it just looks really great. I'm glad they used it so abundantly. It's probably the biggest like building in this set, so it's really great for me. And then they of course are contrasting that with the azul or teal, I suppose, little glass here, and they've got really nice design going on there. A little orange as well. We have this little gold leaf detailing, which can be seen in a couple of places, and these are just used to get onto the next layer. Here we have a little gold bar going over to the apartment. I love green and yellow, especially together. I think that was this is why this layer is pretty great to me. It's just such a great, I don't know, they just match together pretty well. Love the flowers, love the little bits, the tiling. Just looks really, really great. Yeah, this was definitely probably my favorite layer. And then we have a little door going out to a balcony here. Really, really nice. Got some flowers, and then it's kind of just like steps up. And then some flowers on the outside, the same design on this side as it is on this side. I'm glad they didn't sort of like decide to do a weaker design in the back just because it can't be seen. And you have a little telescope here, a little alleyway, which in fact has a really cool reference. It's sort of hard to see. Mega Monster Amusement Park, or sorry, just this Mega Monster Park. They haven't put in the amusement, that would be too hard to fit in. And you can just see some of the like monsters and little detailing in the background. It's really cool, in my opinion. I love that reference. I don't think there's anything on the other side other than the door. Some glass, and then this is not, I suppose, a roof, but it's another unique piece using, it's the, what are they called? The handcuffs, the flowers as well, pretty nice. And then you have the outside of the museum. There's the gold leaf detailing again. Door that just says enter on it. Would that be, I suppose, a compass saying north, perhaps? And then we have some more of these nice color, little windows. Pretty weird place to put them, but again, just nice. And then you have like a blank yellow wall here. And the last section of interior, crab, very nice detailing. Love the dark red, just love this, it's just nice. And then you have this little sign here, which, turning it around, we can see says Dragon Grill. They have a little picture of a dragon just breathing fire, and then you have the sword shuriken, which just adds to the shape. First section of interior here would be, I suppose, the reception of the museum. So we have two pictures of old adventure Lego theme characters here, which is really nice. Again, more reference. This I believe to be the Realm Crystal, which obviously doesn't make sense to have in the museum, but you know, it's fine. It could be just a copy, I suppose. And they do have like the little camera here just to show that's kind of needs to be protected well. Then we have the desk here, a little stamp, a little computer, which is a printed piece, which is pretty nice. And then you have one of these, which is a really nice detail. It's kind of like to let the people through. I think that's pretty cool. You have a miniature version of the Temple of Verjitsu, immediately recognizable. Amazing they got it to so much detail in so little pieces, and that's really cool. You can just see like the bridge there, the two buildings, and then the main temple. And then you have one of these little tourist little poles with all the different information booklets. And then we just are led along a little narrow corridor, and if we just turn this around, there's going to need to be a lot of turning. You just have a little picture of the Great Devourer in there on that side, a lot of like little light just shining on different places. Here we have the part from Day the Departed with the Sensei Yang portrait, and then his blade, the Yin blade, I believe. It doesn't look anything like it, but it's fine that they tried. It's definitely a unique part of the museum that needed to be included. On the other side, we have this sort of Hands of Time area. So we have a picture that's very hard to see of Kainia's parents, Rei and Maya, obviously in the season 15 sets, probably why they included, or not the season 15 sets, the season 15 show, probably why they included them there. We have what may be a Vermilion or one of the Hands of Time, and then we have Crux's little time thing there. It's quite hard to see. And then we have one of my favorite parts of the museum, the great painting of the Serpentine War as seen in the show. It's not exactly how it looks, but it's a nice reinterpretation of it. And it is quite hard to see with the light, but it's pretty cool. And then we have a little snake staff, might be the one that got possessed in season 5 and sort of like attacking Lloyd. Then we have a little Destiny's Bounty, another So's light there. Obviously not something you would see in the museum, but it's really cool. So inside Eileen's apartment, we have a little umbrella and a stand, pretty nice. Another pineapple, quite weird. Little light bulb there. And then perhaps the most interesting part would be this painting of Ninjago City Gardens. So we can assume she's an art student, and it's really, really cool. Just as someone who has a set, obviously is going to have that, so pretty cool. And then you just have her little bed. There are some little paints underneath, quite hard to see. A little plant there, another little light, and a TV with Gale Gossip on it, which is really cool. Also a new kind of piece. And so we now have the bottom section, and we're just going to look at the exterior, I suppose, before we get into the 4 buildings. And the first thing that catches your eye will be the tree. Now, I do have a few problems with this. I really don't like the top half. I just don't think there's enough leaves. This just looks kind of weird, and obviously it doesn't line up perfectly. So this center is not at the same angle as this, and I just don't like that. I know nature isn't always going to be like at the perfect angles and stuff, but Lego pieces can be. I would have preferred if they did that. Positives though, I like the colors of the leaves again, and then we have this little like nest of the bird, which is pretty cool. I like that. And then the bottom half of the tree is just perfect in my opinion. We've got all the tentacles just coming down. We've got this little like vine, which is really cool, just wraps all around and comes back at the end. And then you have this little bench just kind of built into the design. So now we're kind of getting to the river part here, which is in front. I love these like 1x2 pieces. They use them in all the other sets. I'm glad they didn't change it. So it's consistent. When you have the three Ninjago cities together, they link up really, really well. With just a lot of little brass pieces. We have the jade blade sort of pack used as leaf detailing mostly. We have like some sewage here being leaked out, or perhaps it is wastage from this little pink frog, which is a tidbit from one of the designers that puts these frogs in all of his sets. And then we have this, which I really love. It isn't really representing anything, I suppose, specifically, but it just has a really nice, satisfying design, and it was super fun to build. I can say that. One of the most satisfying things, and just very interesting. It has a lot more pieces than you'd expect as well. It took up a whole bag nearly, I think. So bringing that around, more pathways, we'll take a look at this middle section, I suppose, more once we have these shops out of the way. But you can just see a little table in there. And then coming over here, of course, more water. And then this is very interesting. They're using this sort of superhero power piece to show the water flowing down. I think that looks really cool out of the pipe. That's probably my favorite part of this. Yeah, they're just really cool. Then more of the pathways. Of course, there's the door in there leading back up into the middle section, and then we have this backwater bit, a lot smaller than the Ninjago City one, but still pretty great. Again, just love the look of the water, especially when there's a whole mass of it. That looks pretty great. Different colours here just to show it's close to a shop. And then you have these two little statuettes, pretty nice. And then this little middle island, it's nothing special, but does have three main bits. The little rock using a minifigure hat, pretty cool. These green claw pieces making this little bonsai tree, pretty cool. And then this very poorly built but well looking little bush. So now it's time, I suppose, to look at the 4 separate buildings. So our first building up here doesn't really have a specific role. It's known as a tea time balcony, but it can be whatever you really want. The way I see it, just due to it having this sort of like reception looking, sort of waiting, and then you walk in, I feel like it would be like some kind of clinic thing. I'm not sure what that would be. Maybe physiotherapy, just therapy, dentist, whatever you wanted. That's kind of what I imagine. I don't know why the reception just imagines me of that, the whole white colour scheme. But it's more supposed to be, I suppose, like a meditation tea thing. So you obviously have the little teacup there. The little designs back here, which are remnant of the very first intro, I suppose, for the very first episode of Ninjago. Not the pilot, it's the season 1 one, where it was like before time had a name and all that. So that's pretty cool. I love that design. You can also see this maybe on Ninjago City Gardens here. It looks quite similar in my opinion. Yeah, I'd say that is. I can't recognise the other tree specifically, but I'm sure they represent something. A little gap here, which isn't great, but you usually can't see that. The underneath of this looking very ugly, but again, can't see that. It's just something that when you're building it, you're just like, that's not great. Little corner door here, love the colour of that. This looks pretty great. I love this. The little like round thing here, great. Really nice design. This has a pretty nice design, and it has a unique, all of the 4 buildings here have a unique building system, which allows like this certain section to come off at an angle. So you build this, and then you build this sideways, and then you attach it onto these hinges, and it's pretty weird, but it works really well. And yeah, it's really nice overall. Here's the reception area again. Here's just the back detailing, but nothing too special, I guess. One thing that slightly bothers me is when you put it onto Ronan's shop, it doesn't line up perfectly, and I really, really hate that. If it did, it would be so much better. It just ruins the design of this, and if they just lined up, that would be great. Obviously, they couldn't for some design reasons. I just wish they had designed it differently, really, to be honest. And one other thing, I suppose, there's a little ladder down there. I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up that well, but essentially it just leads up to here, and that's how you get here. And it doesn't like add up the greatest. The ladder, like I'd say a third of it is covered, but it's nice enough. First up here we have the Ronan's shop. We're going to take a look at the interior when we take it off. There's just a few things I would like to show while it's on. So that's just it, I suppose, on the pier here. That looks pretty nice. This side definitely looking very ugly. That is the side that you would have covered up by more buildings, obviously. There's just the front. Some nice designs, a little flower. This is not actually Ninjago, so I can't translate it, but it does have Ronin symbol, and yeah, I don't know if that's an actual language or if it's just made up symbols. I'm not too sure on that, but I can't be translating it, I suppose, because I don't know what it says. We have the little table here, and then you have like this bit, which is just really great. It has Ronin symbol right there in the exact same colours as was seen in season 5, and I love the design of this whole area. It's nice and tiled off, built sideways, as we'll see in a bit. But I just like how you kind of have this central square and the 2 little shops, as we'll see. This one also has this as well. It's just a really nice feeling you've got going on there. And then turning it around, the main thing I wanted to show you with it connected on is this little trapdoor lifted up reveals a little room under there where we have some stuff stored away. And when we take this off, and you can actually see that the ground links up pretty well, so that's just pretty cool. We have some gold, the steps down, and then the jade blades and a little trophy. And then we have this little box which says Easter egg on it, and I, after a long amount of research, actually managed to figure out what the Easter egg is. So opening this up, we have a little 1x1 dark translucent green piece, and I had no clue basically what this meant, but it's actually a very interesting story. So essentially, The inspiration for the Ninjago City sets came from this mock someone made, and the water, I suppose, was made all out of these pieces, and so that's just like basically an homage to the creator of that, who basically started the inspiration for the Ninjago City sets, which is really, really cool. But now let's just take a closer look at the interior of Ronan's shop. So you have a lot of details that are seen from the show. This was seen in his shop. This, of course, is the Fangblade Cup from Season 1, but it is in his possession, as we know. Here we have a little bookcase. There are two little Easter eggs in here, which I will show in a bit. We have a little map of the Dark Island, which is a reference to the Dark Island comic trilogy, where I believe he goes there. There's our little ladder I was on about. Here is a reference to season 15, but those are obviously not supposed to be words. It has a symbol there again. Here is a little hat and a bow tie, and there's just the little section there just to get a closer look at it. Pretty nice. Here are two very cool references to the Ninjago spinner cards, and they actually have the exact same poses and like main design and even stats as those cards would have had. So the first one here is, I believe, Spitta. Yeah, really cool. And then we have this one, a little bit more interesting, is Whiplash. He's in his legacy design, however, but everything else remains the same as the card. So next up we have the Ninjago fan apartment. Just in terms of exterior, very nice. We have a sign saying Ninjago, of course, just in English. Really like this design it's got going on with the windows. The colours are a little bit boring, as most of the rooms down in this bottom building. They definitely could have spiced it up a tiny bit, but that's grand. I guess you do have this azul blue here. Definitely a nice little window here. An interesting roof design, not as interesting as the others, of course, but still pretty cool. Little flowers, little golden windows. This bit obviously quite hidden most of the time, so it doesn't look that great, but the interior is what is a lot more interesting. Also notable to mention, it's using this little building technique again, very cool. Obviously all of these buildings do use it, and there is actually no way to get to this room, and there is a hole in it, which is kind of weird and probably not the best. But yeah, got a little lamp here, and then we'll start getting to the Easter eggs. So of course up here you'll have the newer season 14 sets, the Keeper Village and the Catamaran Sea Battle. That's really cool. This might be a couple of things. It could be the Zane mech from the Ninjago movie, or it might be the Castle of Forsaken Emperor. That is probably Unagami's temple. That's very hard to see, but it basically has like a pointy top. It may be also the monastery, which is definitely possible. This, I have no clue. Might be the Jungle Dragon. I actually don't know. It might just be an alarm clock or something along those lines. Here we have her bed. It's got little ninjas on it. The stickers add up pretty nicely. You have like the cover just slightly tucked over there. Little lamp, very nice. That is Zane's Titan Mecha set that came out this year. Another set that came out this year would be the Kai's X1 Ninja Charger. And then we have this little poster of an actual poster in real life that you got given with Ninjago City, and they've shrunken it down here, which is really cool. I don't have the poster because it was a gift with purchase, but that's definitely a really nice reference for those who do. And one last thing, you can lift up her bed to reveal a little weapon underneath, and that weapon would be a sai. Pretty cool, and it's cool to see that she's always armed. As a ninja fan, she would definitely want to be that. So right underneath the Ninjago fan apartment, we have a very uninteresting and boring little shop. There's no Easter eggs or anything, and the design isn't that great. We have this building scheme going on again. You can definitely see the hinges there, but they're trying to cover it up, and it's nice enough, I guess. It does lead to there being a little hole in the floor, but it is covered up because it's on the ground level. Bringing over here, we just have like a little pipe. It's nothing much. They just packed something under there, I guess, which is grand. Coming back, yeah, it just doesn't have the most pretty design, I suppose. The doors are nice enough. Got this little thing here, which does, in fact, just say food. A little countertop here, and then this little serving area, bowl, and then you just have the certain things on the menu, which is definitely very nice. Little pot pan. Just got a lot of stuff going on here, like a little thing stored away, little tap right there, and yeah, nothing too special in my opinion, and a pretty boring shop. Our last section here is the Zane Statue Gardens area, and this is mainly what sets this set apart from the other Ninjago cities, I guess. So this is this whole extra bit that adds on a whole half of, I suppose, length. And it's just really beautiful. You can see like a lot of piece count went into this. This is definitely the most detail packed one, I suppose. They've just poured a lot of pieces into a small area just to get those little details down. So of course we have the water, really nice little water lilies, the rocks going all around. Of course this whole grass area with the little orange leaves and everything. It's just really, really great. The archways and stuff. And then we have this pathway which can connect onto either side of the Ninjago City Gardens or like other Ninjago City sets. You have the bridges just so people can get over, and then we have this little stone detailing. I absolutely love this. Looks great, carries on here to funeral section. Then we have this little temple build. Looks absolutely great. They've just really got a nice design here. Not too much to talk about, but it really speaks for itself. Just loads of little details, really packed, full of just great, I suppose, greebling and that sort of thing. And then the last section, the best section for a lot of people, would be this Zane statue. It is quite inaccurate just in terms of size and also the Zane minifigure that we get, but I don't care. I just think it's such a great inclusion to have. You can kind of imagine it as, I suppose, in miniature scale. If you had the micro figures, they would probably be a lot more in scale. And you have the pillars, of course. It just looks great. It really looks great. This minifigure is just perfect. Not as accurate as it could be, but it is Legacy, so they are going to take a few creative liberties, and I really love the whole look of this section and the little funeral section in total. So now all of the 4 sections are back together, and yeah, we're just going to look at it as a whole and maybe some connection and some issues there, and then just kind of take, I suppose, a conclusion. So here's where the gardens area just like lines up pretty nicely, I would say. You can see really what the main function of the statuettes was, basically just to attach on there, which doesn't look too good, I would say. It's kind of a bit random, but at the same time they kind of had to do it. The water is really nice as well. Just links up pretty well, and there's just like more of it, so it's just great. I really like that. Here's just the whole back together. Definitely a nice open back. I love the way you've just got the tree in the middle. The rest of this here is a bit closed off, but then this whole section here, you've got like the window there. The little bird there is just like hovering, and it's pretty cool. You can obviously look over from here, just like the pillar. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And then just going up, pretty standard, what you would expect. Yeah, not that much more to discuss. So when we turn the set around, which can be quite tedious, we get to a couple of problems and a couple of cool things. So in terms of cool things, I do love how the arch sort of complements the tree, especially when looking at it that kind of an angle. That looks pretty cool. The museum roof here, pretty nice. That would just be how that sort of links up. Now, a few problems. The museum, when put on, kind of pushes the sign out, as you can see, which isn't really great. So that's probably something they should have tried to work on, I think, just with the design of that roof. And then, as I was talking about earlier, I really don't like how this doesn't really line up there. Those are the steps up there, and yeah, I just don't like this that much. Overall, the set definitely takes a lot of shortcuts, and it definitely has problems. It's not a perfect set, I will say that. However, when put all together and just taken as a display piece, it is pretty damn near perfect, to be honest. It definitely looks really nice. The individual sections have problems, but put together, it works pretty well. And, you know, that's the main thing that you want, regardless of these little flaws. Overall, it is a pretty great looking set from the exterior, and that is the main point that they're trying to get through, I suppose. So of course now it's time to get to that score, and if you forgot to tap the card earlier, it is at 1 minute and 50 seconds, so you can always go back and tap that again. So the first thing we'll be discussing is design, and this set definitely has so many good design aspects, and the aesthetic is just beautiful. The colours in the majority of places and the different, I suppose, techniques they're using all along the place are just superb. However, it is not free from its bad aspects as well, and there's definitely a lot of shortcuts and things I just cannot agree with, and some things that do not look great at the end of the day, and so for that reason it is going to lose a couple of points, and I'm going to give it a fair 8 out of 10. Now, playability wise, obviously with so many minifigures and locations and 1 or 2 play functions, it is definitely going to be very fun for kids to play with. But at the same time, I just noticed, you know, when reviewing the set and also just looking at it, it's very difficult to take all the different layers off, and it does take a huge amount of time. And I can just imagine a kid playing with this now and, you know, trying to, I suppose, get inside a single shop, especially ones on the bottom there. It's going to be a lot of trouble, you know, just if they were trying to get a minifigure out or something like that, or just play with the interior inside. It's definitely not very convenient, and so for that reason it's going to lose a few points. And at the same time, for a set of this size, I would have liked a lot more play features. I really enjoy play features in sets, and there just wasn't enough here. There was just 2 at the end, and the last Ninjago City had a lot of really cool play features. I would have liked to have seen some of them in here, so I'm going to give it another 8 out of 10. Now, in terms of minifigures, so it really depends. Are you a quality or quantity person? Most people would probably pick quality, but I do think it's amazing to get so many minifigures in this set, a lot of named minifigures, and there's definitely a few gems in there, a few really good minifigures like the Ronin, the Golden Woo, etc. But obviously they're not that great quality, and there's a few more they could have included. So for that, we're going to give it another 8 out of 10. Value wise, you already know my opinion on this. I think this is just one of the best value set ever, and I'm just going to give it a 10 out of 10. That piece count is just insane. And the last category, opinion, yeah, I really like this set. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Adding that all up, we get 43 out of 50. I would say that's a perfectly fair score for this set. It's nowhere near a 50 out of 50 set, but it's definitely one of the best sets I reviewed on this channel. Anything that gets into the 40s, that is a top 10 set. I 100% recommend this set. If you have the money, of course. It is very expensive. It's good value, but that doesn't mean it's not expensive. But if you really want, if this interests you, if you're a Ninjago fan, it's the 10th anniversary. If you want to try to save up for this,
I hope you enjoyed the video. That's all from me. Have a great...
I almost forgot. If you don't like, subscribe, and share this with your friends, the buildable cow would be very upset.